I think we should stop beating ourselves up for not always starting early. Aloha, it's Katie, and I have not left my house in 1 month. You know, you would think that with all this time I have on my hands right now with virtual learning and everything, I would have developed better habits of starting my assignments early. And yet I'm here, still unable to submit things on time, just using slip days and submitting it a day after. And you know what? Honestly, it's okay. This is such an overwhelming and unpredictable time that I don't think you should be giving yourself any crap if you're not motivated, if you're not feeling it. There are huge problems in the world that don't have to do with students not being able to submit a virtual assignment. That said, it got me thinking about how no matter what I try, I can't seem to do anything early. Ever since I started college, I was just never the type to get a problem set on Monday and immediately start on Monday. If it's due on Friday, I'll probably start realistically Thursday morning. And I think a lot of you can relate. But not only that, I'm also tired of hearing students feel bad when they don't do any work. I get it. Do I get it? But I think we are so productivity obsessed that we only focus on the hours we spend on something instead of the quality of focused time we actually spend on the assignment. Contrary to what you might think of me, because I do so many study videos and I seem like the good girl student who studies all the time, I really don't like studying. I don't look forward to it. I accept it as a responsibility though, and I try to make the most of it. I love learning. I don't like studying. There's a difference. This isn't for everybody, but it is for me because I study better under pressure. I just enter a flow state when I know I have to submit something in 2 hours and that is all I have. This doesn't mean, by the way, that I learn all the content the day before. It means I actually show up to class, I do the weekly assignments, but I'm probably the last one to turn it in. There's a lot of research that supports long-term reinforced learning, and that's when you learn over a period of time instead of just learning everything the day before. So you should be at least keeping up with lectures or at least getting your mind thinking about that. Second is I can't study early. I think this is because I am committed to a lot of extracurriculars on campus. I'm part of 4. I also have my YouTube channel and I'm still trying to be somewhat social. So I really can't afford to be working 24/7, which is what I did more of in high school because I was just trapped in my home all day, and this situation sounds oddly familiar now, doesn't it? But when I'm in college trying to have a good time, studies isn't my priority, it's more a necessity. Again, this is because the nature of my assignments as an information science major at Cornell University allows me to do this. You know, it could be a totally different case for pre-law, pre-med students, but in my perspective, a lot of my assignments are project-based. I can just determine how I want to approach the project. Because I pack myself with so many different things, I don't have the luxury of just sitting around and not doing anything. I also am a person who just loves doing things. I know I'm not trying to burn out here. I'm not doing this for the sake of productivity, even though I've definitely had my phase. I'm just generally motivated every day that I can do something new. I was blessed to have another day on this earth, and that's not something a lot of people in this time can say right now. If you've heard of Parkinson's law, it states that time expands to fill the space allotted. And I think it's a key to making cramming work in that you only allot yourself with just the exact amount of time you need, and so you have to accomplish it within that time. You know, if you gave yourself 2 days, you would probably spend double the amount of time working on the project, but if you actually count how productive or efficient you are in those times, it is not efficient. Even though I study less and maybe a 4-hour amount of time, I would get the same amount done if I had spent 2 days and a total of 8 hours on it, because it wouldn't have been focused work. Another key to cramming is that I don't study with people. I just don't. I don't know how people do it, but I am so sensitive. It's like if somebody talks to me or if someone enters the room, I'm immediately, like, my focus just, I lose it. So I make sure that when I am cramming, I am in a space that is where I work the best, and that's alone with 0 distractions, maybe some jazz music, which I realize is my jam, or Doja Cat. Her album is so good, guys. Another benefit I realized to starting late is that by the time I start my problem set, a lot of my friends who are responsible people would have already started the problem set, and so if I have questions, they already know what's up. If you are ever going to ask your friend for help, please at least attempt the problem or show that you tried to solve yourself first and then ask them. Because another thing for me is it would never be worth it if my friends thought I was using them for school. In fact, just recently I realized for one of my classes that I wouldn't be able to contribute to one of the assignments for a group project. I asked the course instructor if I would pass the class even if I missed these next 2 assignments, and they said I would pass. So I was just like, okay group, here's the situation. In all honesty, I don't want you guys to feel like I'm leeching off you, so I can take the L. I'd still love to join this project and help you guys, but I just want to be honest about that. I am very thankful though that oftentimes it's my friends who actually push me to do better in school, in that I sometimes will just feel like taking the L last minute, or sometimes cramming does have its downsides in that if you're trying to understand something and you don't have enough time, you just surrender, or that's what I do at least. I'm kind of like, all right, I can feel myself getting really stressed. This isn't the healthy stress that was supposed to help me be more productive. It's actually hurting my mental well-being. So I'm like, all right, nothing is worth hitting my mental health like that. So I'm just gonna take the L. And then my friends will actually be like, Katie, you can actually do it. Like, I can explain it to you and whatever. And they'll honestly really lift me up. And that's why Cornell has a very special place in my heart, because I know so many people who would offer that to me. It makes me want to try to be a better student and get things done early so I can actually help back. And the last point I have for why this works for me is because I don't like having schoolwork occupy my mental space. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm already trying to balance a lot of extracurriculars. One is a software development team, one is a professional organization, one is a business one, the other is Cornell Creatives, which my friends and I started for empowering creators at Cornell. There was a time I tried doing my homework early, and I hated it because it was due on Thursday and I had started on Saturday. I spent my Saturday trying to get ahead. You know what? I spent maybe 4 hours on half of the problems, and it wasn't even productive. It was literally me and my friend talking about, haha, we're such jokes, like why are we studying on a Saturday night? And then I ended up feeling worse because I couldn't get this math problem right. And when I went online to Piazza, which is our class discussion forum, nobody had started the problem yet, and so I had no idea how to continue it. Compared to when I start later, the Piazza is usually filled because people would have already attempted the problems, they would have asked the questions that I had, and all I would have to do then is just read their responses. But no, when I start early, I have to be the one asking the questions, and that just takes more time. And not only that, but the entire week it really unsettled me that I could not solve the math problem. And so every spare chance I got to think, I would think about the math problem. I wouldn't be thinking about the clubs where I actually had leadership positions and cared more about. So I typically try to avoid that. This week I had this huge coding assignment for my web development class. We had to make an image gallery. I started 3 days early, and honestly it was perfect timing. It was due on Thursday. I started Monday, finished on Thursday. I still submitted it late though because I wanted to look over it and perfect it by like checking across the rubric. But for me, that was a good use of my brain space because I recognized that there were so many problems and features that I had to know how to do. It would help me by having the problem sit in my head, and so that's why I started a bit earlier. By a bit earlier, I mean like 1 or 2 days earlier for a final project. You gotta play your cards well. You gotta know when it is time to cram and when it's not, but also to really deeply analyze what kind of learner you are. In a nutshell, that's how I cram and still manage to do well in classes. I think last semester I had my best semester yet, and I actually did not get below an A-. It was arguably my busiest semester too. There are a lot of things to unpack about this, and I am no way trying to promote overwhelming yourself with just extracurriculars. I mostly just wanted to make this video because I think we should stop beating ourselves up for not always starting early, for not always getting an assignment done, because every one of us has such different priorities right now. I'm sure, given the whole corona situation, something in your life changed, your values changed, just your approach to life has changed, and it's okay to just survive like this on a day-to-day for school. I think there's a lot of pressure for us to excel in school, to be the perfect student. Some of us are just trying to get by, and even just getting by is still an amazing accomplishment. Especially now, after I did my Zoom videos about how I got called out by my professor, there were a lot of comments that you guys shared about your experiences with your teachers not accommodating you, for you international students or having to stay up at 2 a.m. to attend these, and just the lack of leniency that some of your teachers and professors have shown really sucks to hear. I just wish at a time like this people showed more patience. Don't worry about employers or recruiters too. I've been seeing a lot of LinkedIn. Yeah, I know, I've been a little bit more active on LinkedIn, but I've been seeing a lot of posts that are like, just show some more kindness to the class of 2020 when you're looking at their resumes, when you're trying to recruit them, because they went through this tough time. I just want to affirm my support with you. I don't think that your teacher should be hard on you right now. I don't think this is the time when they should be calling you out if you don't do your assignments or if you're not able to do some reading. You have so much going on, I'm sure, and you know what, you know it. The rest of the world may not, but I really believe that you know your situation best and you are making the most of it. Don't feel bad if you're not able to be at the same standard that you were pre COVID-19 because everything is changing. I'm curious to hear if any of these teaching strategies or stories resonate with you guys, and if you have any fun cramming stories or Zoom stories too, because we as students have a whole community and we should be staying positive. So please share any fun stories you have in the comments and we can all laugh over it together. Take care. Remind your family you love them. This is a time where we really gotta stand together. So I was lurking on Reddit and turns out I'm not the only crammer, and neither are you. Bye guys.